You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. Your love changes everything. There's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing.
Hey, good morning, Rooted Men. Pastor Tom, Firm Rooted Ministries. This is actually Wednesday night, and I'm pre-recording the devotions. Kimberly had cataract eye surgery yesterday, so I've been spending the day taking care of her. Tomorrow, I've got to take her back to the doctor to take a look at the eye, make sure everything's good. So I'm pre-recording, and I got a long section today. It's one story. Solomon does this a few times in Proverbs. Usually he's popping little short proverbs, but this is a longer picture of what adultery looks like. And I want you to remember that it's not just about adultery. It is idolatry. Anything that gets our focus off of the kingdom of God, and we begin to get lured into the kingdom of this world. And I want you to listen to how Solomon describes this young man who's being seduced. At the window of my house, Solomon is saying, I'm looking out. I looked down through the lattice and I saw among the simple, I noticed among the young men a youth who had no sense. He was going down the streets near her corner, walking along in the direction of her house at twilight, as the day was fading, as the dark of night set in. Notice what he's saying. The young man has no sense, but the young man knows exactly what he's doing. He's playing in the wrong kingdom. He's going down the street near her corner, walking along the direction of her house. Even into twilight, into the early evening, as the day's fading, as the darkness of night. Then what happens? Out comes the woman to meet him. She's dressed like a prostitute. She's defiant. She never stays at home. She took hold of him, kissed him with a brazen face, and she said, today I fulfilled my vows. I did something right. I have food for my fellowship offering. So she sounds spiritual. So I came out to meet you. I looked for you and I have found you. I've covered my bed with colored linens from Egypt. I've perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let's drink deeply of love till morning. My husband's not at home, and all of a sudden, he gets sucked in. Again, it's a picture of adultery, but it's a picture of any idolatry. Anything that pulls us away, like this young man, away from seeking first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of a sudden being lured to follow something in the kingdom of this world. So she persuades him and she seduces him. Listen to how he describes it. All at once, he followed her, like an ox going to the slaughter, like a deer stepping into a noose, till an arrow pierces his liver, like a bird darting into a snare, little knowing it will cost him his life. Now, listen to what Jesus says about Satan. He was a murderer from the beginning. He does not know the truth because there's no truth in him. And when he lies, he speaks his native language because he's a liar and the father of lies. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I've come that you might have life and have it abundantly. The enemy will use a beautiful woman. The enemy will use a beautiful car. The enemy will use alcohol or drugs. The enemy will use anything that will pull us away. He breaks away from the story and says, now then, my son, listen to me. Pay attention to what I say. Do not let your heart turn to her ways or stray to her paths. Many are the victims she brought down. Her slain are a mighty throng. Her house is a highway to the grave, leading down to the chambers of death. It's always more than what you think. Satan always offers this little shiny thing, but there's death behind it. There's always a weight behind it. There's always a consequence behind it because he really has nothing to offer. So it's nothingness. And we end up hurt in the end. Or as he says about the young man, that he all of a sudden is like a deer that's stepping into a noose, or a bird that's darting into a snare, or an ox that's going to the slaughter. I guess I just want us all to remember, Satan's no joke. I mean, his head's been crushed and he doesn't have any power, but we can give him power if we buy the lie. And his lies are powerfully alluring. So we look at the shiny thing and we look at that I gotta have or I want, and not realize that behind it, Satan is just ready to unleash death upon us, pulling us further and further away from God, further and further away from his kingdom. So, gentlemen, maybe today is a day in which we do some self-reflection and we ask, what's a part of my life that I have got to pull that root out of the kingdom of this world, and I've got to get it attached back into God's kingdom? Yeah, that thing's alluring. It's attractive. It gets my attention, but it's just going to turn to dust. It's not real. Satan can't give me anything, but God can give me everything that I need and knows what I need. So maybe some thoughts for us as we go into this Thursday. All right, that's what I have for you. Blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.